and welcome to the program. Of course, this is Discovery Paranormal, man, where we discover the paranormal. That's damn right. I like the whole discovery process of information, and the paranormal world just is interesting. Interesting. I was talking to one of my sisters before, asking if she thought I could claim ghosts as dependents, and she said no. I'm like, but isn't it up to the government to find the burden of proof against me if they're the accuser? Isn't it? But this place is haunted, so it wouldn't work anyway. But you know what? They really stick it in and break it off when you're a single person with no kids. Really, really, really. Almost makes you want to go out, get married, and have kids. Bah! I can't believe I even said that. Bah! My tongue just wants to jump out of my mouth and run down the street screaming in terror. Anyway, am I real? Am I real to you? Are you real? Is the world real? And what's real? Real as far as senses? What we can sense is real. And what if we can't sense it? What if you didn't have a certain sense? Is it still real? That whole tree falling in the forest, if no one around, does it still make a sound? Is that real? So many questions, so little time on reality. Tonight's about reality. If you can't handle this kind of conversation, you should tune away, man. Go find the Disney Channel. Go get your puppies and kittens, because we're going to talk about puppies and kittens. We're going to talk about the reality of that and what makes you real, what's real to you, and what's observed, and how that changes that reality if it's observed. Oh, yes, Einstein's theory, too. Block universe theory. Do we make our own choices? Is this really the world we live in? Because if it is, how dare you? Really? How dare you? Because every day I look at stuff and I see, how dare you? I don't. I have to share the same space with you, even though it's a whole planet. It doesn't matter. How dare you mess up this planet? How dare you? Anyway, it all comes down to bad decisions and bribery and cultures of corruption and governments around the world and power and what they do with it. All of that is the machine. If you live inside that machine, is exactly what you have to kowtow to daily, and they live by fear and loathing, and the higher ups live by threats and intimidation. So people work harder and stay in line, and they crack the whip. That's the reality of mankind, humankind, from the get-go. Tell me those pyramids were built with good intentions and lighthearted happiness with sandwiches at lunch with some beer. Egyptians drank a lot of beer, No, big whips, whips, more whips, longer whips, bigger people to hold the whips, you know, and whatever else the hell they had at that time to motivate people. Ancient aliens, you think that they were there with some kind of little funny little box or something? They can lift these heavy bricks, these big giant stones. Woohoo! No, it was people that did that. Like all the other wonders of the world. The wonder of how it was built, because it was people that were made to do it, right? So yes, we know this already. That was their reality. Your reality is whatever the hell makes you real and whatever's real to you. We also live within the speed of light, which, if you believe Einstein and other people too, that speed of light, yes, Bill Gates, of course, that that speed of light, if we get to that point, everything stops. As a matter of fact, before you get to that point, things get awfully weird, elongated, stretched out. You probably wouldn't recognize yourself or anybody else, because you'd be kind of a smear on time and space, like pigeon poop on your car, a smear. And then there's theorized that you would have premonitions of the future and the past, see things way back when, see things way forward, right? So all of that and more in time travel, or that's not even time travel. I'm just talking about, we're going to talk about time travel, man, because it mathematically it is not impossible. If something's possible mathematically, it can be accomplished at some point. You just need the proper technology. But if there is such a thing and you can go to a certain place in time, right? John Trump, Donald Trump's uncle, who was, a big muckety muck of the government back in the day. And when Nikola Tesla died, this guy raided all of his files, took everything. He was a confidant of Tesla. He knew Tesla for years. And before Nikola Tesla died, he said that he had built a time machine. That's why people kind of joked around about Donald Trump, going in a time machine and doing whatever. I don't know what the hell he could have done to do whatever. There is weird stuff that happens, and I don't question it. You know what I mean? Like when it happens, you just have to roll with it because I can't change it. I can only change the way it makes me feel. The way it affects me is the information that I absorb, and that's all. Just like same for you. So our reality is what we absorb, is what affects us. Look at little kids growing up in a terrible, horrible situation in their home of abuse. That reality is what they absorb, is going to transition inside of them and make an impression on what they become. That's their reality. Somebody else's reality made their reality horrible, which is unfair, which is another part of reality or unreality. So is it just not? Is it not that reality? Is this something that we've built, a really high tech Sims game that we have created, and we're just like in the Matrix, in a battery in a tube of slush, of a slurry, a protein slurry, and we're all connected to this big grid, right? That's a lot of people say that, and these are not people like me. These are people actually have a degree and stuff. these these are people that I like to bring out into the sunshine because I like these theories, and I have my own, and it's always interesting to ponder and think. But as reality, there's little subtle things that happen that I don't know if happens to you guys. Maybe it's just me, psychotic or something. I don't know. Little things that catch me. All right, this is gonna sound totally crazy, but this is exactly the show where we can share this type of stuff. So that that in of itself is a reason to be. This is our reality, right? So every once in a while, I'll say a certain word, and then I'll hear the word spoken back to me on TV, talking to a person, and it's just weird. And they're not even common words, and it's just something that is the weirder part is that I notice it. It's not something that's, okay, it just happens and it's random and you don't think about it. It's something that stands out like, that's weird. So I tend to think in the paranormal world and the research that I've done in the years that I've done it, you can't really write anything in stone. It's more about it written on an etch a sketch, and sometimes you just need to shake the thing out and start over again. You just need to understand energy, which is the purpose of tonight's show about reality and its energy. So all of reality is energy, and that energy moves and distorts and it does its thing. Okay, let's say you're sitting on a couch right now, right? Nice, comfy couch. You can feel the couch. Couch is holding you up in the air, as far as you know, right? As far as your energy tells you and lets you understand. You can touch the couch, you can rub your hand on it. Your dog can come in. Your dog is also in your reality. Jump up on the couch. The dog just farted on your face. That's also your reality. Dog farted. Oh God. You know what I mean? So all of these things are measured in your reality as far as your senses will allow you to, right? Your sense of touch, your sense of smell, your sense of your sight, your hearing, all that. If you have these senses, some people don't. Some people are born without it. Some people have medical issues and they don't. So, and then what about those people, man? So you know, there were look at Beethoven. Beethoven was I mean, these guys were challenged and they wrote these symphonies, these beautiful things, and some of them were deaf and blind, and they had all this going on because of these senses. Helen Keller, a phenomenal person who had limited senses but created so much. So certainly the senses don't stop you because inside you still have you and that going on. But what is that? And what is that in the relationship of everything out there? So, when we do have sight and we do look around and the things that we see, it's the vision that we have, the limit of light is very, very limited, and there are special cameras that could show you things that you're not going to see with your normal eyesight, and it shows a bigger world. It shows more depth, and the same thing for other things and other senses or anything that's in the spectrum of light in itself or energy from the beginning to the end, and whatever that is. So how do I know I exist? Man, from the coffee I drink, I think. I think things are very systematic. When I start thinking about these things, you get up, you make your coffee, you start settling into everybody's got a little thing, a ritual that they do basically, and then it comes down to this systematic thing. And that's what you do. That's that said day. And you're virtually like a train, making it stops at station and basically the same time every day is what it's going to do. And there might be some variations, but it's kind of going to be on that path, right? So anyway, how do you exist? How do you know you exist? I think that the couch you're sitting on was an idea from somebody. So it really came from a necessity. Well, man, I wish I had something to sit on that's comfortable, that's longer than a chair, and this give up the couch. And that was their idea. And then they got together the materials and the wherewithal and the know-how to build that couch. That's a process of energy, isn't it? But how do you know all those things are real and not just representations of that energy and what we think those representations are, what it means to us? So, philosopher Rene Descartes hit the nail on the head. I probably just butchered his name. I'm gonna have all kinds of people coming after me, all kinds of French people. Uh, he said, "Cogito ergo sum." I probably butchered that too. The only evidence you have that you exist is as a self-aware brings your conscious experience of thinking about your existence. You question yourself, basically. Beyond that, you're on your own. You cannot access anyone else's conscious thoughts. So you will never know if they are self aware because those people make you real. Those people make you real. Those people exist in your realm, in your world. And that's part of what makes you real, right? So all that was back in 1644, I guess, when these guys were discussing all these things. So they were thinking about it then. And but now we have computers and we have powerful ways of communicating and also calculating data. So we also have lots of games out there, simulations, all kinds of things, word games and worlds colliding or worlds coming together too at the same time. As technology improves, the simulated world becomes more and more sophisticated. So, like I mentioned, The Sims, right? It's a game that, it's a neighborhood or a city of people doing their jobs, working. Some of the games got pretty sophisticated. These people had individual lives. And I guess your job, I can't say I never played it. I played one called Sims 2000. That's got to tell you for a long time ago, 2000, and that was on a PC. And it was like you have the city. It wasn't as personal. It wasn't like you had the house full of people. I had no time for that when it came to video games. I just kind of want to like Grand Theft Auto and trying to run around, shoot things, and then be done with the game for the night. So that type of stuff, get it out of my system, man. And but yeah, some people I know really are like real computer people, or are the ones who actually like sit there all day, all night playing these video games. They were getting into that Sims at the time, where there was like individual families, and they all had family issues, and one's got to go to the doctor. This one, I mean, you're basically like micromanaging all these families, and it's like it's frustrating. Number one, like because you got enough to deal with in your own life. I think you got to micromanage yourself and do that. But as technology grows, these simulated games are becoming more real. And when I say more real in the sense of reality, and you know, even getting physical in a lot of cases, people wearing special suits, for these games to have sensor points on the suits to give you the sense of something's touching you or whatever, and so it's getting to that point, right? And then of course they always have the ones out there saying they're going to tap into the brain, and that's going to be like direct connection, and all of these ideas are achievable, is the scary thing, and we're moving in that direction. And then so then what is real upon that reality, you know so this is a show like it's called Red Dwarf. It's a comedy sci-fi show, British. It's not, doesn't air anymore. It's I think there's only maybe 9 seasons or something. Funniest show you can ever watch. Greatest actors, greatest people you never even heard of, which but just funny, amazing. And for what they did, being out in space, like doing what they do. I'm not going to tell you what they did, but you can go search out for yourself. But in one episode, these guys woke up in a simulator, like a game over, and then they realize that they've been in this game for years, that people paid to be hooked up to these machines, that you're living an alternate life, you're out in space, you're being some kind of hero, all this alter ego type of stuff. And they realize that what were their lives, really what are their lives about, if they wanted to give up years worth of living to be in some simulation, be in some kind of game. So it's philosophical, isn't it? You know, and it's also a train wreck in your brain, because then you have to ask yourself, well, what is life really? Then what am I doing? What is life? What's the goal, right? Because everything you would think would have a goal to it. It gets very philosophical, which we're about to get into. But you know, it really comes down to our reality versus the zombie invasion, right? So it's kind of like the zombie invasion. I met George Romero a long time ago at a you know this movie fest up in Toronto. The last time I actually went anywhere, not really, but you know, the last time I went anywhere without going anywhere. Yeah, Toronto's not that far from me anyway. But they have a big film festival there, and I was happy to go. And I got to meet Tom Savini, who actually lives in Pittsburgh. Great, amazing, unbelievable special effects guy, also actor in all these movies. Man, he's awesome. Was cool. Got to meet his daughter too. But and I know, you know what? All the questions, I didn't ask too many questions, because these guys, they have to deal with that crap all day long from freaks like me. I wasn't even there to be there. I was there to just be there. You know, ever do that? you ever you ever do that? You ever just go there to be there, but you're not there because you want to be you're not you're not it's like if you ever caught me at a NASCAR rally, I'm not there because I want to be there. I'm there because I'm there. There's some stupid reason why I'm there, which you're not going to find me there. So that's why I was there, you know. And I got to meet him. He, big tall guy like me, and we just kind of talked about politics and laughed a bit. You know, he started telling a story about one of the movies he made uh, about fireworks. I don't know if fireworks came up in the conversation. How that he actually put that in one of the scenes in the movies because he was at a fireworks show and these people were looking up and they were all distracted by the colorful lights in the sky and distracted from reality. And I'm like, wow, wow. And here I am talking about it all this time later. So and probably I'll never end up in Toronto again. That's for sure. But what about the zombies? What about the zombies? Metaphorical, right? The people you see them on their cell phones walking around. Just that's their reality. Their realities become an electronic device. Electronic devices are much of the time dictating to people on how to live their lives and do your thing. People don't even think for themselves anymore for a lot. Oh, let me get the phone. Let me Google it. Oh, I can't remember this damn thing. Let me Google it. Really? Is that what you want to do to your brain? When I can't remember something, I don't Google it. I specifically just let it go, and it comes to me, and I feel like that there's a little Mario dude in my brain walking around with a dustpan, trying to clean it up, the mess up there, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, here it is. I found it. It's over here. you know uh but a lot of people are hooked into the system already. If you put that on steroids, you could definitely see how people would prefer being hooked in to a system, where they didn't have to worry about working on their bodies. They didn't have to worry about the hard stuff in life, what they call hard stuff. Look at what's going on in the world and what people expect and accept, as per and how society is absolutely changed, not just because of a virus, but because of people, because of people's wants and their desires have brought them to uncommon places where they define themselves in possessions. How dare they? See, that's exactly where you fit that in there. You know. All right. Forget all that. Forget it. All right. We're going to talk about the allegory of the cave. We're going to start there. We're going back to Plato, who invented the plate. Of course, gonna eat you spaghetti off some. Plato realizes that the general run of humankind can think and speak, etc., without so far as they acknowledge any awareness of his realm of forms. See, so the allegory of the cave is supposed to explain this. In the allegory, Plato likens people untutored in the theory of forms to prisoners chained in a cave, unable to turn their heads. All they can see is the wall of the cave. Behind them burns a fire. Between the fire and the prisoners, there is a parapet along which puppeteers can walk. The puppeteers who are behind the prisoners hold up the puppets and cast the shadows of the wall of the cave. The prisoners are unable to see these puppets. The real objects that pass behind them, what the prisoners see and hear, are shadows and echoes cast by the objects they do not see, right? So it's that simple. That's their reality. The reality is the one created for them. It's like looking at television. It's just a screen of pixels, really, right? And those things are arranged into a mosaic. It's not, they see live video. It's not live. It's an electronic interpretation of what's going on at that moment. This very broadcast right now, my voice. You're not hearing me live. I'm, yeah, sitting here live doing the show, but you're hearing an electronic representation of me. So it's what people create for others and what they know and what their limited sight, limited hearing, limited feelings can understand, right? So I don't know. I'm not going to get into Plato. I just wanted to mention. I just wanted to mention that right quick. All right, consarn it. I'm getting into my curse like a minor 49er. It's working out quite well. God dang it. You know, it's much nicer than the other stuff, man. My New York City slang, which people don't appreciate in certain circles, apparently. How do you know you exist? By the taxes you pay. Duh. Duh. The illusion of reality. All right. So, what's the purpose of our existence? I tapped into uh, an ancient mystic form of communication called the blog, right? And what people like to share. I like to read blog entries. Like when I was researching skinwalkers up in northern New Mexico, northwest New Mexico. You hear a lot of stories and crap on TV that doesn't really go any further than a simple story. Not much evidence at all, right? But when you read these blogs, these Native American blogs in that area, man, they talk about it all the time. They talk about the experience. They're driving down the road and they saw one. Oh, there was one on top of the ridge. All the way there, one came after them. Boom. They got lots, hundreds of stories, if a matter of fact. So don't discount the blog. Sometimes you have to go to certain sources for information, and they may not be all that conventional, but that's good because conventional sources aren't really trustworthy, are they? So, here's the question. Hi, dear colleagues. And this question was put out there by Hasiba Ben Bauli, the University of Clef. Right? What is the main purpose of our existence? Is it important to know why we are on this earth? I think that Hamid is probably soul searching for new employment. That's usually the questions you ask yourself when you're looking for a new job. Why am I here? What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I here? Please tell me. Someone tell me. Give me one of those magic 8 balls. Shake the goddamn thing. Consarn it. I'm going to see what this consarn it thing says. Get yourself a mule and go prospecting. Hmm. Hmm. So, yeah, what is the main purpose of our existence? Is it important to know why we are on this earth? And it often comes down to individual perspective because that's what it is. We all see things differently, hear things differently, experience things differently. Some of us are more emotional than others. Some of us are less emotional than others. That in and of itself shapes and forms our experiences and how we take in information. Because all of energy is information, right? If everything is energy, everything is information. So, how do we do these things? So, all right, let's say there's a car accident. You got 5 people standing at an intersection. One car runs the light, smacks, T-bones right into another car. Boom! Right? Carnage, glass, twisted metal everywhere. So here comes the cops later on, talking to the eyewitnesses on the scene who are about to cross the street. All 5 people looking at the same thing exactly at the same time in the same place. Every one of them is going to have a different story. Some of the stories will be similar. Maybe all of them will have elements of similarity, but all the stories you can count on will be different because people interpret things different. They think differently. If I say the word automobile to you, we're all going to have a different idea of a car, of an automobile. What in our mind pops as an automobile, that simulation in our mind, what's an automobile? But it's not going to be the same. Some people may have the same, but not usually. And of course, on the grand scope, this affects the individual, not people as a whole, right? So it comes down to your own personal experience and what you're doing. So I was dating this girl, and she took me to this custard place, right? She's the best custard you will ever have in your entire life. I'm not really a custard fan, so that's not really a high mark to shoot for if you're trying custard. I'm not really an eggy type of person. This custard apparently wasn't as eggy, but frozen custard too. So it's kind of like ice cream. I'm more of like a gelato fan than anything else, right? A little spumoni, fresh spumoni. Oh yeah. So we go to his place, and I'm cool with it, man. Let's go. Let's check it out. And we get there, and there's like 22 people online. And I counted them all. I sat there in my car. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I said, I can't stand on this line. And she's like, well, why? I'm like, there's 22 people on the line. As we were talking, like 5 or 6 more people walked up. I said, I can't stay on this line. There's like 27 people on this line. I can't do it. I said, each person's going to take at least a minute or two. I'm like, that's like 47 minutes. I said, I'm not doing it. That could be 40 minutes, man. I don't know. I'm not willing to dedicate myself and my time to stand online for something that may or not be the best custard I ever had. So I said no. She's like, well, I'll get out and stand online. Isn't that like a isn't that like a you know? And I'm like, okay. You know what? I sat there in my car right next to her. She was I had the music on. I was chilling. She's trying to talk to me. I got the music going. And she finally gets up to the window. She's like, do you want one? I'm like, no, I don't. I feel like if I didn't put the time in to be, I don't deserve it. Damn it. Yeah. That's why I hate standing online. I just don't like standing online. That's my problem. Especially now with COVID and people. Now, this was a long time ago, but people bunching up, people getting all together, people standing on top of one another, breathing on each other, coughing right behind you, hacking all over the place. Not a pleasant experience. I live through Instacart, and I tend not to. I haven't been in a store in months. Months. How is that possible? Instacart. You know? They should advertise on the show. But anyway, if it's to each his own. It's your own personal experience. If you want to wait online, it's your personal experience, but don't try to drag somebody else into it, right? The Buddha said, we're on our own mission. We're on our own, having our own experience. It's not about forcing someone else to have your experience. If that's your reality, so what do people say about it on blogs? Why are we here? And I know I have the answer. I have the answer to that. And I say it every once in a while, right? Okay, but I want to see what these people say first. Let's see. This one, deleted profile, says the human race is incarnated by nature under ecological balance between living organisms. You can see the laughing crowd. This one. These people are very deep, and but they deleted their profile. Let's see. Here's one who is a hospital clinic of Barcelona. Says it is something personal. It depends on the thought of each person, on their religion, of their convictions. Religion of convictions, or convictions of religion, or the price of religion, or just the basic fee you have to pay for religion, depending which one you get a hold of first. I like that Harry Potter religion, man. They seem like they had some bucks. Those guys, except those Weasleys, man, they didn't have too much. Well, at least they had a house. So, all right, whatever. Why are we here? What the hell are we doing here? Okay. And this one answered again. Uh, she said the same thing. Here we go. This guy who's from the Federal Polytechnic, Adu Ekti, Sigun Michael Abagundi, said the main purpose of man's existence is to serve God and be a help hand to others. You know, I like part of that. Serving isn't just being a good person enough, man. I mean, you know, and what does God really want anyway? I see a lot of cash being thrown around, and I don't think God needs any cash at all. But it really comes down to people and their experiences and whatever, some people are really out there with their views, and their views are no more or less important than your own, because we're all on our own, having our own experience. You just have to make sure that those views, if they conflict with your views, don't damage you in any way, or vice versa even, right? Here you go. This is Leonid Vladimirov from the Institute of Chemical Physics. The question is, why are we here? What the hell are we doing for 1,000 points? He says, what what is the main purpose of existence on the planet Earth is a puzzle. But many overly curious people are trying to solve this problem. With my best wishes of success to all of them, Leonid. You know what? That's the most honest, intelligent answer I've heard. He is worth any kind of Texas politician, man. This guy should come to America. There's politics in your future. You do that Texas sidestep. You know what I mean? He's like, go ahead, try to solve the problem. You have my blessings. I have heard you and understand. Thank you. Uh, what is your question? Well, sir, how are we going to fix this problem in our government? You ask too many questions. I got no time for that. Time to go. Bye. I got a barbecue to get to. All right. Let's see now. Here's what are we here for? What are we doing? This one is Herman Thakar, Government Polytechnic, Ahmedabad. Says the hidden power is always working with us. It is always with us and involved in all of our activities in form of energy, spirit, and intelligence. The main purpose of our existence is to recognize the nearness of this superpower and try to understand the expectations of this lovely power. Hmm. I like it, but it doesn't really strike at the core, does it? And he probably could have summed it up in just maybe one sentence. But it's always a hidden thing. Why hidden? Is it a hidden power? Or is it something that's represented? When I see huge acts of love and kindness, I'm not seeing some hidden power. I'm seeing something that is active and that is beautiful, something that raises people, brings them up to a higher level. That's what I'm seeing. It's not invisible. It's the churches, all these places that they're the ones who want you to believe in the invisible forces, so you can throw money into the hole in the ground for these invisible forces. But what are they doing really? What are they doing really? How come things aren't getting better around these organizations that exist that seem to have so much money and power, and yet they don't even throw people, give them a bone, nothing. It really comes down to the individual. So that in of itself, is to me, is to learn how to love, take that individual responsibility for the ones around us, making their lives a little easier. I don't mean going out doing stuff for people all day long. I mean kindness, love, just like I said, right? Another deleted profile says, definitely to serve the humanity. You see that word a lot, serve, right? Serve, serve, care for. I like care for. When you love someone, your children, your pets, your friends, your parents, whatever you got. It's you care for them, but you don't take care of them like a horse in a stable. You care for them. It's a different world because you love them. It makes you happy. It makes it, you know what makes you happy to see them smile. That's love too, right there. So let's see. Let's see. Hamid is back. He said, he's going after this other guy, man, Doctor Leonid Vladimirov. He's the one that I kind of applauded, who said my best wishes. Now he answered him back. It's a battle of the scientists, man. Dear Doctor Leonid Vladimirov, thanks a lot for answering this question. If you want to know the solution of this puzzle, as you said, I invite you to read this book, the Holy Quran, which is the words of God. However, you are not forced to believe on it, but I just invite you to take the time to read it and then tell me what you think about it. Infidel? Infidel? I will cut your. Oh, never mind. So here it is. This dude is throwing the Quran at you. Read the Quran as the words of God. Well, since when? Is it all the words of God? If everything is created under in this universe that we understand, that's all the word of God, right? The nutrition label on my coconut water over here is the word of God. If you want to get technical, is it a word that's going to bring you to any kind of skill in life to be kind and loving and caring, or is it something that's just used to as a power and a tool of intimidation, right? I read the Quran, so I understand. One of my friends, Rory, was becoming a Muslim, and back in Queens, back in the day, it was a big deal for a lot of dudes to become Muslim. It was a thing, right? And I'm all for it. Whatever, man. It's you're talking to somebody who became a Rastafarian for a short time. You're like, people are like, how you can be Rastafarian, you're white, and you don't have dreadlocks? I'm like, it doesn't matter. It matters the crowd that you're in, and you're having a good time. And I just like the fact that a true Rasta doesn't like they actually do take care of their bodies. They don't get into like eating food dye and things like that. They're good people, man. Take care of their families. I liked learning all about that and all about the communities, man. I met my first Jamaicans in Queens many years ago. So, yeah, man. Yeah, man. So my friend Rory was becoming a Muslim, and he's like, he wanted me to read the Quran to him so he can read it back to me so he can memorize it. And we did that for 2 years, man. Shows you how much I had going on at that time. 2 years we did that, sitting in his car in his driveway. Even weirder, because it was the only place we could get out of earshot of all people is like in Far Rockaway, Queens. Man, there's a lot of people around, you know. And you know what? I was happy to do it for him because it was a journey that he was looking to take. You know, that's cool to me. I mean, it takes all kinds, and it doesn't really matter if it's all written on the same page. Then whatever, man. You're all getting on the same train. You know, whatever your beliefs are, you're getting on the same train. Get it? Get it? So this guy's throwing the Quran at this dude. I want to see the guy answer back now. There's like a battle of the scientists. How many people do you actually think actually like really read this? Like besides me. This is this is back. This is September 2018. Oh, this is way before COVID times. I want. Oh no, now he's on somebody else. Uh oh, here we go. Doctor Heeman. Oh, here's another one. I invite you to read the book sent to my colleague. Then tell me what you think about it. Read the Quran. Ah, the Quran's a funny thing. It was. This was the deal. It's an awesome story, as a matter of fact. And Muhammad, Muhammad himself, the Prophet Muhammad, has an awesome story. Muhammad actually talked about Jesus's wife, Mary, in the book of Mary, more than anybody else ever did. In the Bible, they stomped that thing out. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. But but Muhammad apparently was visited by the Archangel Gabriel, other angels too, but this specifically, Archangel Gabriel took him out in some kind of, you can describe as, craft around the world, and showed Muhammad different civilizations, at that time, and then in the future, and then in the past. Then on another occasion, took him out into the universe and showed him other civilizations and other places. So a lot of this is based in that, and the what Muhammad actually says, and what people interpret it as today, it divides. It's very dividing. Like Muhammad said, men and women enter heaven equally. And then men interpreted that to say, well, then while you're here on earth, and since man is stronger, is going to be the more dominant one, and then women are going to be submissive. Now, you can get that from that. That's pretty amazing to read into it. But it's an interesting book. You should read the Quran. Everybody should read all that stuff. I mean, and understand different cultures, different mindsets. So, but then when the Quran was written, so there's two groups that kind of split apart. There was the group that believed in the written word of the Quran. Then there was a group that believed in the metaphor, the metaphorical version of the Quran. Then those two groups split into four groups, right? And they became, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Gryffindor. So, it's a true story. So, it actually is a great story. People tend to smudge things with religion and belief. Just read the stories. Read the stories. Get the belief out of it and read the stories, because there's amazing stories back then of what these guys were all about, and it was about the progress of society, really. So anyway, I'm gonna end that there. Maybe this guy cursing anybody else out. Well, here we go. Here's another one. They're fighting now. Oh, the one guy says, really? That's his answer. Really? So the Quran thumping guy's like, really? This is an excellent answer, which was made by providing a good example of our life to simulate the main goal of our existence on the planet Earth. Saying, really? Read the Quran. this guy, this guy's, oh, here's Leonid. He's back. Dear Dr. Gadori, thank you for your advice. We'll follow it. Leonid. Ooh, oh, I like to dance. A little sidestep, and now you see me, now you don't. I thank you for your advice. I have heard you and I understand. Thank you, sir. Thank you kindly. This guy Leonid's got career in politics, boy. Hamid's back. Respected Dr. Leonid Vedmarov, I do it with all pleasure. You are welcome. Best regards. See? And everybody's happy. Oh, he's back again. This scientist got a lot of free time, man. I'd be looking at his grant money. And this is a Dr. Stefan. Of course, yes, I agree with you, dear respected Stefan Turnick. I didn't even read that one. This guy's like fighting with everybody. There's always one in every crowd, isn't there? And that's why I can't tune in to anything anymore, because it's just people battling it out. People battling it out. I got no time for that crap. I don't have time for this crap. This is at least funny crap. I like it, because these people are highly paid scientists, man. You know what they do? I dated one. she went to Long Island. She's from France, but I met her up in Ithaca 'cause she's doing work through Cornell, through their labs and whatever. And then she goes down to the city with these other three scientists from Cornell. They had never been down there, and I was kind of directing her. And they went over the George Washington Bridge 6 times because you know what? When you're on the GW and you think you're going north, it says you're going south, and you think you're going south, it says you're going north. It really screws things up. They should actually take that off of there completely. So they're on the phone with me on the cell phone. She's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over the bridge. And I'm like, "You're going the wrong way. You got to get over the bridge." You know, they're doing U-turns at the booth and stuff, messing traffic up. They're stopping traffic so these guys can go back and forth. They finally make it to this thing in Sag Harbor or whatever, Cold Spring Harbor, to this big meeting with all the minds of the world. And she said it was basically the one scientist who invited all the other scientists, and he put out a lot of champagne and hors d'oeuvres, got them all drunk, tried picking their brains. At one point, when she called me to tell me she loved me. Isn't that cute? And then she's like, "Michael, I love you. I love you." And then all of a sudden, people in the background, they're like, "Who's who's that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's my love, Michael." And they're like, "Michael, we love you. We love you." Then the whole room starts singing, "Michael, we love you. We love you." I'm like, "Who are these people?" And she's like, "Oh, just the leading scientific minds in the world." Like, we're in trouble. That's it. That's all that I'm saying. This way, I don't have to second guess myself too hard in life, knowing that these guys are out there. And my answer to them is, I love you back. I love you too. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll see you guys next week on Discovery Paranormal. Maybe that's going to be your reality. I don't know. Did we scrape reality? Did we touch reality? Did we penetrate reality? Did we get into reality? I think maybe just a little tiny little bit. Otherwise, whatever. I'll see you guys next week on this here show.